I started working at BC, ended up in the tech department. We did installs like.
What did you start doing at BC?
I started at sales, but they had like 4 salespeople already, and then they only had 1 tech guy, and then he was gone on like he had like family emergency thing and was gone for like a month. And I was like, yo, guys, like, do you want me to just like go do tech? Because like there's nobody there, and there's like 4 of us in sales. So I started doing tech pretty early on.
What does a tech position do at BC?
It's just like you deal with if someone's having an issue, you email them, help them figure it out.
Tech support stuff, yeah.
Yeah, custom build kind of stuff, and then also we would do R&D installs. So like if there was like a new car that came out, we had a new kit, we would install it and do all the documentation. So we also, it was kind of rare that we did this, but if we sponsored somebody coilovers and installed them, like I would install them. So this is how I met Adam. Cody, the marketing guy there, he's like, hey, you used to ride BMX. Like, do you know this Adam guy from YouTube? And at the time, like, I only knew YouTube for like car crash compilations, like rally hill climbs. Like I didn't know what a YouTuber was. I didn't know that you could subscribe. Like I knew none of this. And I thought he was the other Adam from BMX. I didn't know who he was. So he shows up and he had brought his bike, and it was on his E90, his white E90. And I was like, hey, look, I used to ride BMX. Can I like try to do a trick? And I think he probably thought that I meant like I used to like do a bunny hop here and there. And I did like a 360, and he was like, oh, like you actually used to ride, Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I got into drifting, and it just kind of like fell off of biking. And he's like, oh, I want to get into drifting. And we started chatting, and we kind of like became friends. And at the time, I'm like, get a 240 with an SR in it, because the Z's weren't really a thing then. And that was that. Like, I didn't really think anything of it, because so many people are like, yeah, I want to get into drifting. And then like nothing happens.
Yeah, I mean, what year was this anyways? Like,
God, when would it be? Like 2014?
Yeah, that would probably make sense. 2014-ish.
Somewhere in that range.
Yeah, because Z's were still.
Yeah, like and it wasn't like that concept of like stock simple cars like hadn't really hit yet, and like I hadn't had a working drift car in like 3 or 4 years, so I was kind of like a washed up drifter anyway, and I was just like SR240, get something simple. So a couple months later, he hits me up on Facebook and he's like, hey, I bought an SR240. And I'm like, oh, this guy actually did it. Like he said he was going to do it, like, because I still didn't know anything about him, and he's like, his plan was to leave it in Connecticut with Jimmy and only drive it like when he was up there during the summer, because he knew car people there, but he didn't know any car people here. And he's like, I want to bring it down. Like, should I? And I'm like, yeah, dude, bring it down. Like, I'll help you. Like, I know people. Like, I'll introduce you to the drift people, tell you when events are, whatever.
Yeah, because he wasn't like a car guy, mechanically inclined at the time.
Right, exactly.
Really, so
he didn't want to bring it down here and then have nobody who knew car stuff. He only knew BMX people down here.
Living on campus, I think. Like.
Right, yeah. You lived a little bit off campus, but yeah, basically.
But being a college student,
yeah, no real garage
is odd.
Yeah, so I was like, dude, just bring it down. Like, I promise it'll be good. It'll be fine. And he like. It started misfiring. He drove it down, which is crazy to think about now from wherever, Connecticut.
Yeah, that's a long drive.
Yeah.
240.
And somewhere, I think in South Carolina, he's like, it started misfiring. And me and my buddy Marco had both had SRs. And we're like, it's a rocker arm. And I had a bag of rocker arms at my house from my SR days. So like we go over there, we change the rocker arm. And like just me and Adam became friends. And he started trying to get me to ride again. And I was like, I probably should, because I was in not great shape then. And so I started riding again, and then we went, I'll never forget, because we went to Gringos Locos, which he loves, across from Orlando Skate Park. And he's like, you should start a YouTube channel. And he's like, I'll help you. Like, I'll give you a shout out to help you, like, get it off the ground. Like, you should do it, And I was like, I had no interest in doing it. Like, it wasn't on my radar. But I was like, you know what? I might as well give it a shot. And the girl I was dating at the time was going to Full Sail. So I'm like, oh, you can edit the videos. Like, this is perfect. You got a Mac, whatever. So I buy a camera, start making videos. She was taking forever to edit them, like a month to edit a video. So I like spent all my money, bought a little gaming laptop, and started editing them. And that's pretty much the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah, and then you started, what cars were you filming at that moment? Like,
so that was the Miata. So when I started my channel, I'd filmed like a couple videos. Like, I didn't know what I was going to film. Originally, it's kind of come full circle. originally I was like, oh, I'm going to film like how-to videos, like how to drift, like how-to stuff. And then once I got going in the early days, I turned into like a vlogger because that's like what I was around.
And that's what was really big at the time.
Right. So like I filmed me going to watch FD Atlanta. I've never in a million years filmed me going to watch an FD event now. But I made 3 videos on each trip, you know? So, but now I'm kind of like almost full circle back to what I envisioned it would be in the beginning, you know?
Guys, thank you for tuning in to the Bogetti Clips YouTube channel. For the full podcast, check us out on Bogetti Studios YouTube and all your audio platforms. Also, hit that subscribe button to not miss out on any of the new Bogetti clips coming up.